third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 hens a laying, and Twilight 12 paints of Christmas by the drider of honey. Twilight was startled to consciousness by an unbearably loud bird call. She sprang from her bed with a yell, wings instinctively spreading in preparation for fight or flight. Fortunately, this caused them to caught in the curtains on either side of her four-poster bed. Her startled leap proved to have more momentum than the curtain rings could take, causing them to snap off. Her fall quickly turning into a somersault. The rotating motion made the warped curtains to tangle themselves around her body. Without moments, the all-powerful element of magic and Princess of Equestria was reduced to a wad of curtains and fuzzy blankets, with a frumpy and dizzy face pouring out of a convenient hole in the center. From a distance, one could easily have mistaken her for a large purple egg. As he sat there, dazed and disoriented, a chicken walked in the field of fusion. It clicked at her curiously, then proceeded to peck at her horns like it was a juicy fat worm. Ow, 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 hey, cut that out! Twilight tried to summon her magic, but each fresh peck to the horn shattered her concentration before she could even form a spell. Her primary trump card out of play, so she retorted to some more primitive solutions. Shoot! 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 Ow! Get out of here, you pitiful poultry! She tried to shift her weight, either to loosen her wrappings or roll away from her tormentor. She didn't care which. She swayed slightly, but this only served to further make her horn look like a wiggling worm. To make matters worse, rather than scaring away the chicken, her shouting and yelling attracted two more. Rather than fight over pecking rights, they persisted themselves around the horn, which resulted in one bird standing on her face and started up a steady tempo of pecking where the bird's head came down as soon as the previous one was clear. Like a trio of miners, the pickaxe all working at the same spot. The chicken sounded a sense of coordination that could make a cuckoo clock envious. Though not particularly painful, it was incredibly annoying and prevented any use of magic. Outnumbered and overpowered, Twilight opted to tag in some assistance. Spike! Spike! Twilight yelled loudly, as well as he could, while trying to avoid a repeat of yesterday's incident. Spike, could you? Ow! Come to my bedroom, please! Ow! I really need your help! Ow! Will you help? Please hurry! She continued yelling until she could hear his calls on the outside door. All right already! He groused, still rubbing the sleep from his eyes. Are these early morning tree problems going to be a regular thing now? Because if they are, then Oh! Finally opening his eyes fully, Spike took in the situation. The somewhat destroyed bed sheets, Twilight cocooned as effectively as he had been visited by a changeling, or mass seizures with an unhealthy egg fixation, who went periodically. 3 chickens who pecked at an incapacitated horn like mechanical miners, and a pear tree resting casually in the corner of the room. After a moment, he said to his thoughts, Well, this is new. If you're done, gawking, I could use some help here, please! Spike hurried over to Twilight's rescue. While dressed-up ponies yelling had no effect, the chicken scared quickly before the oncoming dragon. Twilight sighed in relief at the reprieve. As she waited for the stinging to go down, Spike began to experimentally prod and tug whenever her body shook loose. So, how did you end up like this? He asked. I think one of them clutched my right ear woke me up. Twilight admitted. I sprang up, got tangled, fell down, rolled, and became more trapped. Then couldn't even use my magic because it kept pecking at my horn! Spike laughed a little to himself. Praying was silent enough for Twilight to miss it. In a few minutes, it became bearable enough for Twilight to use her magic again. She tugged at her bindings, looking for a free end or at least a loose section, but found none. In a burst of frustration, she gave up and teleported across the room. She sighed as she looked at her shed husk of blankets and curtains, as well as the tattered ends still clinging to the bedposts. Well, shoot. Looks like I'll need to go shopping again. Spike stuck his head into the opening as he left, finding he could move in and out freely. Man, you were really stuck, weren't you? Well, it's a good thing Chrysalis or Sombra or any villain didn't decide to invade us today. I smiled morosely. I suppose that's true. At least that was something new today. No pear trees, eh, Spike? Twilight? He pointed to a claw behind her. She turned, and her eyes widened at the sight of yet another pear tree in her home. The chickens had settled down around its base, and as he seen 3 more birds' heads poking out of the branches. The room seemed to heat up as her frustration grew. All right, that's it! She declared angrily with a mighty stomp of her forehoof. Once is a chance, twice is coincidence, but 3 times is a conspiracy. Come on, Spike! She grabbed him roughly with her magic and set him on her back. It's time we brought in an expert! Well, wait a second, am I here? Twilight and her companion walked to the crystal corridor, which held the ballroom, where all new arrivals had been moved to safekeeping. Twilight sighed. Look, well, there's been some strange things going on, and I just thought it might be time to bring in an expert opinion. Applejack smiled. Well, I'm almost willing to help you out, Twilight, though I'm not sure what kind of strange things I could be an expert on. Frankly, unless your problem relates to farming, honesty, or booking, you may have called in the wrong mayor. Twilight chuckled nervously. Well, about that. She pushed open the door of his ballroom. As far as ballrooms go, it was quite grand in design. The room spanned some distance in each direction, easily to hold over 100 ponies, not including flying pickets, while the walls and floors were made of the same material as the rest of the castle. The crystal seemed more geometrically placed, creating a series of spiraling facets just beneath the surface. In the center of the floor, some of the crystal was slightly discolored, creating him as a Twilight's cutie mark. The wall and the large windows and matching skylight filled the room with sunlight, though each of the glass windows seemed to be made of much thinner than the floor material. A series of arcing staircases along the wall led to spacious balconies along the up walls. Banners of purple and gold adorned the walls, while a filigree of the same colors added a delicate flair to the various accents around the room. All in all, it was fascinating one would expect at the ballroom of the royal princess. Applejack whistled appreciatively as he cast her gaze about. Well, oh boy. Don't reckon I've ever seen this room before. Pretty sure I remember if I did, so not sure what you need my help with, though. She pointed to the center of the room, where Spike stood waiting and waving. Behind him stood the 3 trees, and each with a chicken at its base. 2 of them had turtle dove nests on top. The 3 partridges have apparently decided that Twilight's blanket and curtain chrysalis would make a perfect new home. We proceed within. Each began walking towards the menagerie. You see, DJ, Twilight began, as of 2 days ago, this stuff started showing up at my castle. First, there was 1 tree with a partridge in it. I need your Shirley, Spike contributed. Then yesterday, there was another tree and a bird. Then along with a nest and 2 doves. Finally, this morning, there was yesterday's things again, as well as 3 blasted chickens picking away my face. Prince chickens. Applejack said instinctively. What? They're prince chickens. Hens, really. Blasted chickens have black figures, sharper beaks, and are a lot shorter. Thanks, Twilight offered. I really want your thought was on the trees. Anything you could tell me about would be great. Twilight, I'm an apple farmer, she said plainly. What makes you think I know anything about pear trees? This was made in 2016, people. That is all. Well, Twilight fumbled awkwardly. Aren't all fruit trees somewhat similar? At least there isn't a close enough relationship between apples and pears so sons are developed. Again, this was made in 2016. Applejack narrowed her eyes at Twilight. For the sake of our friendship, I'm going to forget you just said that. Applejack said silently. But also in the name of friendship, I'll give it my best shot. She walked over to the trees. She studied them, taking them from all angles, leaned in and snipped them. After several more minutes of simultaneously unscientific experiments, she was ready to deliver a verdict. They're pear trees, Sugar Cube. Not much else I can seriously say. Seem healthy enough, though they could use some water. Twilight approached cautiously. I was kind of hoping for a bit more than that. Some species, maybe? Anything out of the ordinary you might pick up with your earth-pointing magic? Applejack gave her a little stare. Twilight, they look like pear trees. She gave one tree a light kick. Feel like pear trees. She inhaled a grimace. Smell like pear trees. And if I didn't care about soiling my mouth with their unnatural juices... Come on! I bet they taste like pear trees too! That's really simple, I can tell you. Twilight sighed resignation. Thanks anyway, H.A. Just a little upset or confused about the whole situation. Applejack placed a consolatory hoof over Twilight's shoulder. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. If any pony can, you will. She moved the hoof to her chin as she gazed thoughtful. You know what this kind of reminds me of? That thing Pinkie was talking about the other day. Twilight's ears perked up. Pinkie? What thing? You know, that lizard of hers about the dragon pony wherever that trades he praises for candy. Wasn't there a secret part about filling up your house with junk if you didn't believe or something? She huffed down silently. I don't know, it was paying real close attention at times. Yeah, right, Twilight scoffed. So there's a much more reasonable explanation than me angering some mythical creature no pony's ever heard of. I don't know, Twilight. We've seen some strange things these past few years. We all thought Nightmare Moon was a nightmare's mare, too. See how that turned out. Twilight scoffed again. Pinkie's Hearths Warming Fairy is not nearly on par with Nightmare Moon. We have written evidence of the legend being imported to help amend cultural offenses after the Minos War. Evidence from a book. You can always trust books. You say so, Applejack shrugged. I'm just saying. Keep an open mind, you hear? On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 keys of laying. After the events of the previous morning, Twilight chose not to sleep in her master bedroom that evening. Instead, she decided it might be safe for her to bunk with Spike. His room, after all, was easily large enough to accommodate a second bed. Possibly a third if the occupants didn't mind hopping over the hoofboard to get in. Though, taking some rearranging of his comic book collection, Twilight found herself right next to the window in Spike's room. The room's placement in the castle gave it a stunning view of Luna's moon, as well as the gently rolling hills which eventually rose into Mount Cantor in the distance. The area was dotted with trees and groves and small tributary streams which weaved between the hills. At this time of year, everything was covered in a light frost, just enough to make the world glitter like diamonds in the moonlight. Despite all this, Twilight's restless mind could find neither peace nor tranquility in the unfamiliar bed. Though Spike snored peacefully across the room from her, her thoughts were in turmoil, rolling and frothing under a single topic: the gifts. Though they lacked any care or sentiment one expected to come from a gift, she had taken to calling them as such all the same, voting for lacking a better collective term. They were annoying, true, hazardous possibly, but until she got to sleep, she had not fully grasped what danger they might present. The realization that led her to switch rooms. Some pony had been in her house. Some pony had been in their house, with her knowledge, right under her very nose on 3 separate nights. Not only that, but they had been in her room. They had been in her bedroom while she slept, completely helpless and unaware. It was only that thought that it was some sort of forced lesson, a prolonged prank, that let her still sleep home at all. Maybe it was actually intended as legitimate gifts, only for some pony with crippling weak social skills. As always, realizations had calmed Twilight down. She was perfectly content replacing an unlikely but terrifying potential scenario with a more probable, only slightly unsettling one. It was these thoughts that finally allowed her, the panicky purple princess, to get some sleep. Surprisingly, it was Spike who woke up the first following morning. Rolling out of bed, he made his way over to his own bathroom, scratching his scales idly as he did so. He walked over to his sink, which was conveniently located just the right height for him. He peered blearily into his reflection. He spat his lips a few times, grimacing at the taste of dragon morning breath. He took a deep breath, held it a moment for a few internal chemical reactions to initialize, then quickly craned his head upward, released a few good-sized fiery blasts. This had the simultaneous effects of releasing any flammable digestive gases he might have built up overnight, as well as burning off all the morning breath causing bacteria. Now fully awake, he smiled at himself as his heat-treated teeth glinted in the mirror. He reached for the mirror, only suddenly pulled away and looked back at the main room. Twilight, as far as he could tell, was fast asleep. Confidence restored, he turned back to the mirror and pressed the defect to one side of a single claw. The mirror tilted inward until it clicked, releasing the pressure. Spike drew back his claws, the mirror swung forward, revealing a secret door. After checking once more to make sure Twilight was still asleep, Spike swung the door fully, looked in. It was a small space, roughly and irregularly cut out from the surrounding crystal. It was barely large enough that he could hide inside, though such a venture would be incredibly cramped. Scraps of cloth lining the bottom, a cast-off piece from one of Rarity's old products. Carved at the top was a red sigil, lit and surrounded by chaotic-looking runes. A small breath, he puffed out the tiny switch of dragon fire. As flame met sigil, the runes turned green and began glowing softly. This held for a moment, until 5 small insects from the center of the circle with periodic clinks against the fabric lining. Snatching them, Spike curled across the floor in the mirror and resumed his innocent facade. Licking his lips, he opened his claw slowly. A little suspense always enhanced the flavor. Then again, Twilight could wake up at any time. She usually safely over his presentation, with claws rested away to inspect today's haul. 2 quartz, a garnet, lighter amethyst, and was that a black pearl? Ember must have been feeling generous today. Popping the other 4 bite-sized gems in his mouth, he tucked the pearl away for later. As he crunched, he could hardly stop himself from moaning. His combination was so good. Soft flavor of the quartz blended perfectly with the rice garnet, while the tangy amethyst overrode the normally bitter aftertaste left by quartz. Almost regretted not adding the pearl to the mix. Wonder what kind of flavor it would have added. Rare stone like that was worth saving, regardless of the recipe. So absorbed was he with the stack, he failed to notice the sound of soft hooves on crystal. Good morning, Spike! Twilight crawled out tearfully. Gah! He responded with a jump in shock and surprise. I was sure like he had just swallowed the last bit of gem bits, or else Twilight rises for himself a face full of rocky shrapnel. Completely ignorant of the bloody accidents he also nearly missed, Twilight continued around the hyperventilating dragon to his sink. She knelt down, only reached the sewer sink and mirror without straining her neck. Turning on the wire, as he began rinsing and gargling, Spike's pulse finally began to slow his breathing and return to normal levels. Jeez, Twilight! He started. Give Dragon a little warning, why don't you? She rinsed once more, spit into the back of her sophomore host. Sorry, Spike. I thought you would have heard me coming. She grabbed a towel with her magic and dabbed the moisture from her muzzle. Why are your attention so focused you didn't notice me? He glanced around nervously, looking for an excuse. Was, looking at myself in the mirror. Yeah, that's it. Trying to see if I hit a new growth spurt or anything. He finished with an enthusiastic, a somewhat hammy grin. Twilight raised an eyebrow, but let it slide. Well, okay then. Just pay more attention to your surroundings. Yeah, sir. He chuckled awkwardly. I'll make sure to do that. Morning ritual was complete. They headed towards the kitchen together for breakfast. They chatted aimlessly for a little time about things. Plans for the day, anecdotes about dreams, thoughts on the weather, simple castle-morning conversation you could hear in any given household in Equestria. Then Spike just had to go to bring out the one thing that made their morning special. So do you think there's going to be more stuff today? Twilight groaned. For Alessia's sake, Spike, I hope not. She hung her head morosely as she continued. This is getting to be a real pain. I'm trying not to run out of reasonable explanations. Well, maybe it'll be something good today, Spike offered optimistically. Who knows? After all these birds, maybe we'll get something useful, like a bundle of fresh quills, or maybe some can of scale polish. Hey, for all we know, there might be a pre-release edition of the new Power Boys comic. So I chuckled as the moonlighting. Thanks, Spike, you're right. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and get a swarm of Paris sprites who'll eat everything else then leave. Spike gave her a look. Jeez, Twilight. Good thing Fluttershy didn't hear say that. Yeah, good point. Forget I said anything. Haven't had my coffee yet. As he approached the kitchens, they could barely hear sounds coming from the doors. It was instinct, but clearly there. Twilight had her frustration. Sorry, Spike, she growled. For the sounds of it, we've got more birds. She vented some frustration on the kitchen doors and slammed them open. The sound door, meanwhile, was not a discreet one. Massa successfully frightened the multitude of birds resting in around the pear tree, located at the top of their food preparation counter. The hens were off first, running around like their heads were chopped off. The turtle doves took to the skies, though they always remained close to one another. Coming in the air were small black birds, which alternated between flying and hopping across the cooking implements. The partridge remained cool, as a cucumber, and apparently was unfazed by the noise. Twilight frowned at the chaos, till she noticed the new birds and her face lit up at the idea. Spike, she said, as they headed toward Princess, see if you can corral them into the ballroom. Albeltic might not have been able to help us, but I have a new idea who might. I'm sorry, I don't quite follow. Could you explain it again, please? That's all right. Twilight sighed at her friend's timidity as she led towards the ballroom. Let me show you first. Maybe it'll make more sense. Once more, Twilight opened the doors into the grand ballroom with her magic. It was just as stunning as the previous day, though this time seemed a little more lost on the new pony witnessing it. Her eyes focusing on the menagerie at the center. Oh my stars! Fluttershy guessed as he sped over to where the birds were roosting in and around the small grove. Twilight, I had no idea you were starting an animal sanctuary. Twilight's awful expression failed. So they're not yours then? Fluttershy looked up questioningly from the chicken she was nestling. Mine? What do you mean? As I tried to explain on the way over here, these birds and trees have been showing up in the castle while Spike and I were asleep. First it was just one, then two, then three, now four. I don't think of them as birds first, she explained. The partridges are on the ground base. They don't fly south. Prince hens aren't native here and aren't likely pets or livestock. And turtle doves don't migrate. But those, she pointed to a quartet of birds, I don't know what those are, but their size and shape look very much migratory species to me. Oh, those are calling birds, Fluttershy exclaimed, as she leaned over for one to climb on her mane. I'm surprised to see some here. Not only are they not native to Equestria, but they seem to be far south by now. Twilight nodded. That's essentially my line of thinking. I thought maybe you had been putting them here since they missed their chance to hide south. But I take it that wasn't you?
I'm sorry, Twilight. I don't put these birds into your house. I've never seen a calling bird outside my books.
Twilight hung her head. Figures. She murmured. Head rose again as an idea came to her. What do you think could house them? It's not like I don't like birds or anything. I certainly appreciate your warm and cozy cottage to this stone castle. Lucy hesitated. Moment of fine, she shook her head.
Sorry, but I really can't. My cottage is already filled to capacity with other little critters who couldn't stand to the cold. I'm completely full.
She turned to look longingly at the calling birds, not in her mane.
But could I come back regularly, please? Only to see them?
Twilight smiled, though not without a twinge of disappointment. Of course, Fluttershy. You can come by any time to see them. You're always welcome here. Twilight gasped as the air was pushed from her lungs by his sudden, surprisingly forceful hug.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fluttershy cheered, before finally releasing Twilight from her bear hug. She turned back to the birds.
Goodbye for now, little friends. I'll be certain of your visit.
With that, she began to fly towards the main doors.
Thank you so much, Twilight. We got to see them in just a little while. It was Sarah everybody's get Fred back at the fence before they start to turn on each other.
The sound of the doors slamming meekly, she was gone. Twilight looked at where Fluttershy had flown off for a moment, before turning back to her cluster of guests. Well, I suppose that went as well as it could have. Not sure what I could have expected.